Hello and welcome back to the Three Strands Pod. I hope you guys are feeling good, I hope you guys are feeling strong, and I hope you guys are feeling wise. I'm smiling because I'm feeling very happy and very energetic, but really inside I'm feeling very sad. Why are you sad, I hear you ask? I'm going to tell you guys why I'm feeling sad. Because on Twitter I saw that Vine was trending, and I love Vine. Oh my gosh, you know I'm the king of references. If there's a song, there's a show, there's a meme, there's a Vine, there's a GIF, I got it. Vine really made me who I am today. Shout out Vine. I was going through the thread and I was looking at all the old Vines and I was just like, oh my gosh, these are iconic. And you know a Vine is iconic when you can see the Vine and before it even plays, you know exactly what it is. Oh my days. Them Vines there. I love Vines so much, and I'm going to share some of my favourite Vines with you guys. I hope you guys know them. So there's the one with the guy where he goes, I'm going to say it. I don't care that you broke your elbow. Free Shavakadu. An avocado. Thanks. Look at all these chickens. It's the 4th of July. I'm ready to pop these firecrackers. Don't pop them on me. Where the police? There go the police right there. And then my favorite, the most iconic Vine I've ever seen, ever in my life, ever.com. I am confusion. Why is this one Kansas, but this one is not Arkansas? America, explain. What do you mean it's Arkansas? If either you didn't laugh or you don't get those references, I'm sorry to say, but your humour sucks. You are out of touch. But due to the beauty that is the internet, you can obviously go to YouTube and find all of the Vines ever made. There are like 10 billion and 12 compilations, so I suggest you catch up. Alright, the time has come to make it do what it do. So without further ado, so without further ado, cue the intro.
I'm 20-something years of age, and life surely ain't about handouts. So I lays my plan out. Hard work is living catered to an hardcore survival. Consider God's lesson from conception to arrival. Now that I'm here, my fears shall decrease. Learn about life, making my way to the east. From 4 square yard struggler, the G's on time. Yo, God, hit me with that introducing.
I found out very recently that this very podcast has audience listeners in Nigeria. How fantastic is that? Which actually works in my favour because this particular episode is actually about Nigeria. Look how that works. Full circle. Alright, unfortunately, this isn't going to be one of those, oh yeah, that was so funny episodes. Because life isn't always, oh yeah, that was so funny. Sometimes life is serious. And so the podcast reflects that. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the role of voodoo as a part of Nigerian human trafficking rings. Which unfortunately doesn't sound glamorous and doesn't sound very lovely, but it's happening. This is happening somewhere in the world, and I think it's fair that we address it. I think I have around 6 articles regarding the role of voodoo and juju and like witchcraft in human trafficking rings, specifically in Nigeria. So if you are interested in reading them, let me know and I can send you all the articles because I'm not sure you can find them on the internet. But I got a plug, y'all. Shout out to my plug. Shout out to UK. So one of the articles I read was talking about an operation called Operation Coolvis. That's Koolvis. Coolvis. And there's a criminal network that is trafficking women from Nigeria via the Netherlands, like as a transit country, so that they can become prostitutes, or street prostitutes actually, in Italy. A quote I got from one of the articles I read was that the number of Nigerian victims of human trafficking for sexual exploitation is among the highest of any ethnicity in Western Europe, next to victims from Eastern Europe. So that just goes to show like how active the human trafficking like network is in Nigeria, and in terms of like the amount of women that are being brought to Europe like from Nigeria. I think it's crazy. Human trafficking networks are actually comparable to drug trafficking rings, like in terms of their flexibility. And I think that just shows like how serious this is. How can the trafficking of drugs be compared to human trafficking? What the hell? What the hell, dude? One of the things that I found interesting when reading about human trafficking networks in Nigeria was that the women actually control other women. Whereas like normally if you hear or think about human trafficking, you think, oh yeah, it's like males that are dominating over women. In Nigeria, it's mainly women that control the human trafficking network and stuff like that. The name Madams is given to the former prostitutes who become female pimps, and they're the ones who are actually like demanding for the new victims. So the Madame owns a girl until she repays her debt. And she also pays for the recruitment and transportation of like the victim girl. And when I read that, I was thinking, why would they do that? Like if you were like a previous prostitute, like you were already a victim of human trafficking, how can you become a female pimp and then continue on like the stuff that people did to you to other people? But then there was like, they're given like this false hope, like there's the possibility of like earning good money in the future as a madame. So then that becomes an incentive for them to like comply in these exploitive situations and like get new victims to become part of these human trafficking rings. And so through all of that, the victims then become the offenders, and then they just bring in new victims, and then those victims become offenders, and like the cycle literally just continues. So this is where we get into like how voodoo plays a part in all of this. So voodoo or juju is a form of witchcraft in Nigeria, and it actually like exists alongside Christianity and Islamic beliefs. In the context of Nigerian human trafficking, voodoo refers to a variation of like ancient West African religious tradition. So this is where a priest is connected to a voodoo shrine and he has power to manipulate people's lives. Another quote I got from one of the articles was, "Since the 1980s, there has been a resurgence of voodoo priests who seem to cater specifically to the needs of human traffickers." So here we see that the priests are actually like involved in the human trafficking like network, like they play a part in the continuation of women becoming victims and then becoming offenders and all of this. Like the priests are actually involved. So before the women leave Nigeria to obviously like make their way towards Europe, they're led to the shrine where they have to perform some mad rituals. And I was reading that some of the examples could involve like them having to cut themselves with razors, eat chicken hearts, or like beheading goats. I don't even understand that. I don't even get that. But this is like literally, this is a normal thing in terms of like the role of voodoo and like human trafficking in Nigeria specifically. Like this literally is just normal. When I was reading these articles and like doing research into specifically Nigerian human trafficking, I was thinking these rituals just sound brazy. Like no one can tell me that this makes sense. But obviously like for me on this end, I understand that this just looks mad. But like I said, like over there in terms of like the voodoo and the human trafficking, this all seems very normal. And there's another quote that I read, and it says, "Voodoo plays into fears and beliefs that are latently present in Nigerian culture, which are then abused and adjusted into rituals specifically for the advantage of human traffickers." Like, when I was reading the articles, a lot of the things that the human traffickers would do and say and whatever is related to voodoo, and voodoo basically is built off like fear that something is going to happen if you don't comply with whatever it is they're asking you to do. And so like when you feel scared, it's easy for you to be like, oh no, like this might actually happen to me or whatever, so you just do anything to comply. So I get how like it's easy for them to manipulate their victims into into performing these rituals because they are scared for their lives. One thing that I read that was absolutely crazy to me was that even like when the women are traveling on their own, because they are so scared because of like the threat of voodoo and like the terror inducing rituals that they have to perform, they don't even try and escape because they have such a great fear of either them or their families being hurt by the voodoo. Like, that is crazy. I would think that if they were traveling alone, they'd be like, okay, this is my opportunity to escape or to run or to seek help. But because of the fear that is inflicted on them because of the voodoo and the rituals, they don't even have the strength to run away. That is literally how powerful like the fear and the voodoo is. That even when they're given an opportunity to escape, they're so scared to take it. Like, I hope you guys are really like understanding how terrifying the voodoo is and how terrifying it must be to be a victim of all of this. And even though they don't run away, like when they're alone, when they're traveling alone, these women, these victims are like complying with these rituals and believing in this voodoo because they're being force-fed these lies that, oh yeah, you're going to go to Europe and you're going to work and you're going to be able to repay your debts. And so for them, it's like, okay, I have to work so I can repay my debt so that like my family can be covered and whatever. But it's like, if I do anything, then like this mad thing is going to happen to my mom or my sister or my dad or my brother. Like, it's crazy that they will literally like tell them, if you don't do this thing, if you don't stay with us, if you try run away, if you tell anyone or whatever, then your mum is going to your dad's going to like, that must be crazy. Because for them, it must be like, if I stay, I don't know what's going to happen to me. But if I leave and something happens to my family, then it's my fault. So what is this? Literally just a rock and a hard place situation. So the actual Operation This was initiated after hundreds and hundreds of Nigerian women arrived and disappeared from asylum centres in the Netherlands. And this was all like in the 1990s. And then like the actual investigation took place between 2006 and 2009. But the investigation didn't want to like look at the individual cases in the Netherlands. It wanted to completely map the entire organisation. And they found out that the ring actually operated in Nigeria, the Netherlands, Spain, the UK, Sweden, Germany, France, and Italy. Through the work they did, there was an indication that the volume of data collected amounted to 65 files, so hard copy versions. This is including indictments, wiretapped phone conversations, lists of like money transfers and phone calls, and intercepted text messages and mail. That is a lot. 65 files. One of the articles actually had an extract from an interview with a girl that was brought to the private house of the voodoo priest by the madame, who had actually promised to bring her to Europe. And they told the little girl to eat the raw heart of a chicken, and then she ate it, and then she was saying that her stomach was hurting and she wanted to throw up. And in the interview she said, the priest said I should not throw up and had to swallow it because it was very important for the oath. Like, they're making their victims eat chicken hearts as a part of like the ritual for human trafficking. This is crazy. I don't even understand. She had to eat a chicken heart. First of all, that's disgusting. That is so disgusting. I really doubt the victims are asking them, excuse me, how is this helping? What is the oath? How does the chicken heart play any part in this? What is the purpose behind it? Because I don't get it. I really doubt they're over there questioning their traffickers, but I genuinely don't understand. Like, they're making people eat chicken hearts. I don't know how much of the heart she had to eat. I don't know if she had to eat the whole thing, just take a bite. I don't know. I don't even know how big a chicken heart is, but yeah, I don't want it. And it's raw. She had to eat a raw chicken heart. Obviously, the victims believe in the voodoo because the traffickers wouldn't even be able to manipulate them if, like, they didn't, like, authentically, genuinely believe in the voodoo. And I think, to some extent, the traffickers believe in the voodoo as well because you couldn't sell it to them. You couldn't really be like, you man have to eat this chicken heart if you didn't believe that, yeah, what you're doing is really, really gonna provide the results you say it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, a man can't sell you voodoo if you don't believe in his voodoo. If you don't believe it, how am I gonna believe it? But when I was reading, I was thinking, how can they even believe in the voodoo? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But then obviously, like checking the credibility of the voodoo threats and the authority of the priest, all of that is just costly for the victims and for the traffickers, really. So they're really like, there is a foundation for the fear that they have, because sometimes there are actual killings that come after the voodoo threats. So for them, it's like, oh, these men said this is gonna happen, and then this happened, so the voodoo must be true, like the witchcraft is alive and kicking. So I get, like, it's hard for them to discredit the voodoo, so they're just like, oh, I must believe it, whatever. And because, like, the threats that they be given, like, obviously these people are powerful enough to pattern the killings, so it's easy for the victims to believe it, it's easy for the offenders to believe it. And so when it's easy for them all to believe it, it's easy for them to use it to their advantage in terms of trafficking humans and getting these women, like, from Nigeria across, like, to the Netherlands, to Spain, to Italy, to all these different European countries. Sometimes the offenders would even use voodoo to solve disputes, like, over the coordination of criminal activities between each other, and then they bring in a third party who is the priest to solve the issue. So through, like, reading these different articles, it seems that the role of the priest is actually independent to the trafficking network, and they're actually paid for, like, the services that they provide. I read that there was a trafficker who was arrested in the Netherlands, and he asked a co-defender in Nigeria to go to a voodoo priest to influence the court judgment outcome. And the aforementioned Nigerian priest is linked to a religious shrine by the name Ayelala. And so the priest actually, like, needs specific information and names to perform his voodoo. But sometimes, like, people would only give a name, or they'd, like, withhold some information or whatever. But, like, sometimes the priest would work his magic, per se, and, like, get information out of them, or he just, like, needed minimal information to do the voodoo. Like, sometimes it would vary. To intimidate the victims further, sometimes, like, the madams would imitate the inventions of the priest. So they'd, like, create voodoo packages, and this would have, like, clothes and, like, bodily fluids of the women. I read that there was a search for the Ayelala shrine, and I think it was, like, several or so articles indicated that the shrine was actually functioning as a coherent court system. And I also read that there would actually be, like, killings at the shrine. So people would get shot, people would get, like, it was mad. I think it's clear to see how easy it is to manipulate people into doing what you want when there is fear involved, especially when the thing that you're using to manipulate people, the thing that your authority is based off, is something that you fear as well. I think it's very strange. For me, it's very strange that the offenders also believe in the voodoo. Not really, actually. I don't think it's strange, because they have to believe that they have power. Hopefully you guys understand how voodoo has been playing a role in the human trafficking in Nigeria. Like, this isn't even really about any specific story. This is just a quick overview of the role of voodoo in, like, human trafficking networks. But there are so many stories of women that have been trafficked from Nigeria to Europe, from plenty of countries. Like, obviously the internet is at our fingertips. You can read up on it. I did find some news extracts of women that were previously, like, involved in human trafficking and that have, like, been rescued and came out to share their stories and stuff. I will leave the links to those in the description. Like I said, if you are interested in reading the articles that I read, yeah, let me know, because I can't share the actual link because it's a document. So yeah, if you want to read that, let me know and I can forward it to you. If you guys do have any information on any more human trafficking stories, or, like, information, if there are other operations that you've heard about, be sure to let me know. You guys can leave voice messages that will be featured in podcast episodes. So it would be very interesting to get a voice message from someone in Nigeria who can actually give, like, first-hand experience or information on, like, the human trafficking situation in Nigeria. I think that would be great. But if not, all of you can still leave a voice message. The link as always, will be in the description. You're welcome. Even though this episode wasn't as glamorous as the other episodes are, I hope you guys did learn something. Maybe it sparked interest in you. If you want to read up on it, and you want to do something about human trafficking, I don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace in the Middle East to you and your crew. What? Peace in the Middle East to you and your crew.
I'm 20-something years of age, and life surely ain't about handouts. So I lays my plan out. Hard work is living catered to an art called survival. Consider God's lesson from conception to arrival. Now that I'm here, my fears shall decrease. Learn about life, making my way to the east. From 4 square yard struggler, the G's on time. Yo, God, hit me with that, bro.